y'all. Hello, hello, hello. Tasha checking in with another video, and this is going to be none other than my coverage of the Diddy trial, day 5 through 7. If it's your first time joining me, go ahead and like this video up, comment in the comment section, and subscribe to the Redefine Me channel if you want to get all the latest updates and on this trial. Okay, so let me get myself situated, make sure that y'all can see me, give YouTube a few minutes to let y'all know I'm coming in, make sure my mic is positioned properly, hope that you all can hear me properly. um every time I go live, this mic, I love it. It sounds great, but I always feel like I gotta hold it for you all to really get the sound, but hopefully that's not the case. All right, y'all. So we about to get started. We about to jump into it. I was supposed to come out a couple of days ago with these reviews, but to document this as a content creator and get the notes, because of course cameras are not allowed in there. So I can't really take the notes just off of seeing it firsthand. I have to kind of rely on the sources in the press that are allowed to come into the courtroom. And so I have to do my research from there. And it is a lot to listen to, a lot of notes to gather. So I could only imagine how the press feels having to go back to a pen and pad, writing everything, hoping they don't miss anything. Okay. And so I am here to give y'all that coverage. I'm like y'all press reporter outside of the courtroom that linked up with the reporters in the courtroom. Okay. All right, y'all. So if I look down periodically, I'm just checking to make sure that the mic is still great, that the light is on. Okay. All right, y'all. Let's get into it real quick because I don't have a whole lot of time and we got a lot of stuff to cover. Okay. Let's get into it. So I'm going to start off with day 5 of the trial. Okay. This is going to be day 5 through 7. Tomorrow I'm going to come out with days tomorrow. I'm gonna come out a little earlier tomorrow, but tomorrow I am going to come out with days 8 and 9 because I do have other obligations in the evening for tomorrow. So day 5 of the Diddy trial. Okay. What's going on? Okay, welcome to the live. Day 5. It starts off with Cassie again, her testimony. Okay. Cassie's testimony is over. Okay. They just wanted to get a picture of the relationship, a picture of how he was. Because if y'all keep in mind, they are trying to prove that Diddy was abusive, that he was running an enterprise, that he was a criminal. Hold on, y'all, 1 second, that he was criminal, that he was running an enterprise. So they have to do a lot of things to try to break down his character, right? And Cassie was a key witness, and her testimony was very important. Okay. So on day 5, the atmosphere in the courtroom, let me see, hold on. Let me see if I already had gave y'all. Okay, so day 5, the atmosphere in the courtroom. So outside of the courtroom, a lot of people was there, right? A lot of people like myself are trying to get inside the courtroom. They are trying to witness this case that is one of probably the second most prominent cases that we have had amongst the music industry. So people are trying to get into the courtroom. People are outside of the courtroom selling T-shirts, trying to get a glimpse of the family, things of that nature. They got free Diddy T-shirts outside, and all of that. Okay, to support Diddy, his mother and his daughters were not there on day 5. So the daughters were there on day 1, but they had to go back where they're from. And I'm thinking they're living in California because they had graduation and all of that going on. The mother was not there on day 5. I don't know why that is. Maybe she's with the daughters helping them get ready. My theory is I think his daughters kind of went because they had graduation things to handle, but I also think they went because they were not suspecting a lot of things to come out about their father. Okay. So they were not there. Okay. The jury at this moment on day 5, they seem to be paying attention, taking notes, being focused. They're coming in on time. So they are very heavily doing their job and invested in this case. Okay. Um, On this day, they played a audio recording of Cassie. Okay, in 2014, this audio recording outlined Cassie's temper, behavior towards an individual named Surgeon. And I think Surgeon, I can't remember if he was like one of Diddy's staff members or what was going on. But Surgeon had found a video, I guess, of a sexual video of Cassie, and she was very upset that they were in Atlantic City at this time. He said in the video it was her pleasuring herself, and she wanted to see it. And she said, if you don't give me the video or whatever, she was threatening him, things of that nature. She was going to get someone to kill him or whatever. Okay. So the defense was trying to paint a picture that she's not what meets the eye in leaking that audio recording or telling the jury about that audio recording. Okay. On day 5 also, hold on. Jonathan Addy, hold on, I'm sorry, y'all, because I'm taking the notes. I'm trying to make sure I give y'all everything that I got. Okay. Um, so Jonathan Addy, of course, he was revealing that he was a sex slave to Diddy and Cassie. He in 2018 he had came out and said that he was their sex slaves. Nobody believed him, but now all of a sudden his case is going and everybody believes him. Okay, so they never used him again after 2018. The 2016 hotel incident came up again. So Cassie's testimony was over on day 5, but they still were leaning into a lot of things to do with her because she is, like they say, a key witness. Okay. In 2016, the hotel incident, the excuse behind the fact of what Diddy had done was because he had a bad batch of drugs. So that is the narrative that they're trying to come up with and say that's the reason that he acted the way he did towards Cassie during that 2016 hotel incident. After hotel assault, Cassie went back to Diddy after that assault, actually saying that she had loved him and everything of that nature. So we see this video footage that everybody has saw at this point, but after this footage, she ended up going back to Diddy after that. In 2018, they talk about the grape that happened in 2018. The husband, he had to leave the courtroom, of course, because they started talking about this grape that happened between Diddy and Cassie. That was what happened when they had a meeting where they were doing like an exit from each other date and everything, and then he committed that at her apartment. Um, so I had a question actually as I was, hearing all of this, reviewing all of this. My question was that why was she having an exit date from Diddy? Because at this time she was in fact dating her now husband. Y'all know that her husband is Fine. His last name is Fine. Whoa, what is his first name? I can't remember his first name. I probably got notes on it, but his last name is Fine. He was a trainer that Diddy had hired in order to train her. They end up getting in a relationship and started dating, but at the same time she went to go get closure, I guess, with Diddy from this date that ended up leading into a grape. So I'm trying to figure out why was she even down to see Diddy while she was dating her now husband at that time. August 2018, the closure conversation happened. I think that Diddy was thinking maybe they would get back together, but at that time she was dating her now husband. Her timeline about the grape, however, doesn't add up. She said it was in August, and then as the defense began to press her out, she found out. She then says that it was in September, so it was 2 different months that she was toying between. And I'm thinking because it happened, a little while ago, she probably cannot remember the date exactly to a T, right? And so, some grace has to be given on that, not discounting the fact that it happened, but she wasn't able to give the exact dates in which it happened. Okay. Cassie also told the government that Diddy is bipolar. Some days he's up, some days he's down. My theory is I don't think that he's bipolar. I think that the drugs that he was using makes him behave a certain way. If y'all remember, there was an interview that came out with day 26 that Vlad did some months ago, where it got really emotional in the room like that. And a lot of them did allude to the fact that when Diddy is not on drugs, he's a very, cool guy, chill guy, what's up, bro, and very, a good person to be around, right? But when he's on those drugs, he's a different person, and he acts a different way, and it's just very scary and very just, something you don't want to be around. And so I think that's where the bipolar that she's referring to comes in, because he's under the influence of the drugs. She said that she doesn't hate Diddy. On the stand, she said she doesn't hate him, and which, you should get to a level where you forgive your enemies, right? And you don't harbor any hate in your heart against them. But we're talking about a man that committed the most heinous acts against you. And so I feel like she still, has some things to get over in that situation. It's almost like she's going back to having like this survivor remorse for him or something like that. But she said she didn't hate Diddy, and so I guess that's where she's at. Maybe she's good in her life, about where she's at with her husband, her children, things like that. Okay. Fast forward, we get to September of 2018. And his name is Alex Fine, her husband. That's when she started seeing Alex Fine. She said that she was still involved with Diddy while dating Alex Fine. So we find out on day 5 that she was seeing both of them, both Diddy and both Alex Fine. Okay. What's going on? What's going on? Welcome to the live. Make sure you're coming in, liking the video. So she was still dating both of those individuals in September 2018. Okay. Also, she said she still communicated after the breakup with Diddy, even in 2020, where she was already married, she was already pregnant, right? She still communicated with Diddy in that time. Okay. Um, and okay. So moving on to, and this is on day 5. Um, Diddy sends her a message, and he says to Cassie that he misses his best friend. She also replied and said she misses him too. Diddy was saying, "You're my ride or die." So they were still trying to yeah, we're discussing Diddy. They were still trying to keep some type of rapport or communication, even well after all of the stuff that he had done to her. Okay. Um, Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Cassie wasn't his wife. She was actually just his longtime girlfriend that he was dating. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Okay, so 2020, also the closure meeting happened. That was brought up with that closure meeting. Um, she was still doing drugs, y'all. He really got into her head, got into her life. He got her addicted to drugs. He got her mind messed up. A lot of these things that he did, manipulating her, because he got with her when she was 19, and they was together for 11 years. So it was a long stint of time that he dealt with Cassie, right? She was still doing drugs in 2022. In 2023, she had to go to rehab. So she was not in a relationship with Diddy at this time. She was with her husband, but she was still addicted to the drugs. Okay, yes, very cruel, very cruel. Her brain in rehab was just really just all over the place. She was hooked up to this machine that would help her mental status. And she said with that machine being hooked up to her, it ended up altering some of her memory. So she was trying to allude to the fact that if she misplaced some things while she was on the stand, that it was because she was hooked up to this machine while she was in rehab. I don't know what kind of machine that is, but I'm guessing that is something that they use in rehab when they're trying to handle your mental state. Okay. Um, she said that Diddy actually was, during their relationship, kind and loving to her, right? But the kind and loving side of him did not last. And like I told y'all a minute ago, I believe that was because of the drugs, right? Okay, so the freak offs, they get back to that. She said there was a preparation for the freak offs. Okay, so the freak offs had to you had to get escorts, you had to set the room up, you had to have baby oil and candles and different things like that. You had to prepare for this freak off. Not only that, it was just based off of the way that she looked. She had to look a certain way. Her nails had to be a certain way. Hair had to be a certain way. It was a whole process that had to go through before those things actually happen. Okay. Um, it goes further into saying At this point, the reporter goes further into saying when she filed the lawsuit, she was going on tour. Okay, so Cassie was obviously going on some type of tour. I don't know if it was the tour for her music or what it was, because as y'all know, Cassie only put out one album, right? So most people, and it's unfortunate, would not know her for her talents. They will remember her for being in a long-term relationship with Diddy. Like if you ask anybody what Cassie's what her songs are, did you buy her album, what her movies were, you don't really remember her for that. Unfortunately, you're going to be remembering her for this case and for being linked to Diddy. But she did tell us she was going on tour. I'm sorry, when she filed her lawsuit against him. She said she canceled the tour because it was a lot to deal with. Not because, what's up, Kelly? Not because she had won this lawsuit against Diddy. She canceled that tour at the time because it was just a lot to process, a lot to deal with, and she wasn't able to deal with all of it. So she canceled the tour that she was going on. The reporter goes further into saying she was in the freak offs, she was into it in the beginning, but it had to change because she kept doing it to make him happy. Like it was something she was into doing, but then after a minute she felt like a sex worker. So I believe that maybe in the beginning he painted it as something where her and her boyfriend was going to get together and have sex, but after a while she was just not into it anymore. She didn't want to do it. But because Diddy, would make her do these things, he was so, powerful, wealthy, things of that nature, was taking care of her. She wanted to make him happy, so she ended up doing these things. Cassie also, and this is what I did not know, and I don't know if y'all knew it, she also got a settlement from the Intercontinental Hotel where the incident happened, where we all saw the video of Diddy going up against her, abusing her. She got a settlement from that hotel as well to the tune of $30 million, I believe. I did not know that. So she got a settlement from Diddy and she got a settlement from the hotel. Also, hold on. Okay, so we get into the next witness. So Cassie's done with. I know the jury, like myself, was like, "Whoo, we're glad that she's done with." Right. However, she is a key witness in the case, so that's why they had to keep, going on with her to get an outline of a pattern of how he was as a person and their relationship. Okay, so we get to witness number 2, which is Special Agent Yazin, and I didn't get the last name. Okay, Yazin is a special agent that handled Diddy's arrest in September. So y'all know the arrest when they finally got all the things that they got from his house, raiding his house. Yazin was a special agent that arrested him at the hotel in New York. Okay, so the warrant was issued at 11:30 at night on September 16th in 2024, and that's when he was arrested and taken in. Her role was to be the photographer. Now, she's a special agent, but her role after that arrest was to be the photographer. She was to take pictures of the hotel. He was at the Park Hotel in New York when he got arrested. In said pictures, she took pictures of baby oil. She took pictures of 5 bottles, that is, of baby oil that was in this hotel. Now, this was when he got arrested in 2024. So if we're talking about freak offs, if y'all thinking this in the past, this man was still heavily into wanting to get involved into these freak offs even when he was getting arrested. Because in these pictures in 2024, there were 5 bottles of baby oil, there was lube in the pictures, there was a Louis Vuitton bag. Now, the Louis Vuitton bag is important because in that said bag, it would have money, different drugs. It would have all types of stuff in that bag. So it was almost like an overnight, one of those hoe bags. But for lack of better words, but a really bad hoe bag. Okay. She also had a picture of drugs. She had a picture of lighting devices, mood lighting, and the hotel room that he was in, he booked it under Frank Black. That was his alias that he used to book all the hotels for his freak offs. Okay. She also a pink bag. Hold on. She had a pink bag. It also tested positive for MD. I'm going to say this right one day. MDNA, I think it is. That's some type of drug, which is pink cocaine. It was a black fanny pack in the picture. The black fanny pack had $9,000 in it. Let's see. Hold on, y'all. I gotta get my notes. So yeah, he was still doing the freak offs as of late as 2024 when he got arrested, which is last year. Okay, so if y'all think it was in the past, that was something he was doing. No, he was still setting it up. Okay, so fast forward, we get to witness number three. Now, witness number three, we all know her, right? Her name is Dawn Richard. Now, for a long time, I thought this lady's name was Dawn Richards, but her name is Dawn Richard. Who is Dawn Richard? She was a member of Danity Kane. Now, Danity Kane, if you do not know them, they were the girl group that was picked by Diddy from Making the Band. So y'all remember the show Making the Band back in the day. If y'all watched it, I heavily watched Making the Band. And so y'all remember the two bands was Day 26 was the all boy group band, and Danity Kane was the all girl group band. Now, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, making sure my mic's still good. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I was a fan of Danity Kane. I don't know if anybody else was. What's up, Joseph? Welcome to the live. I don't know if anybody was a fan of Danity Kane, but they put out 2 albums, and baby, let me tell y'all, both of them albums ate. I can still listen to them albums today. I loved Danity Kane back in the day. Okay, so witness number 3 was Dawn Richard. She was in that group, and she took the stand. Okay, she said she auditioned for Making the Band, and she was a part of Danity Kane, like I just told y'all. She's from New Orleans, and she is 42 years old at this point in time. Okay, her testimony lasted for a period of 20 minutes, and let me just tell y'all, Dawn Richard did not help the prosecution. I don't even know why they called her on the stand. Okay, I also like Dave Chappelle's parody Making the Band as well. Me too, Joseph. That it was really funny. I liked Dave Chappelle when he did that parody. And so she didn't help the prosecution. They should have set her down off of the stand, because she would say one thing, then say another thing. And so it looked like she was lying on the stand, right? I'm sorry, y'all. I don't feel like I got some hair on my lip. Okay. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's for my shirt. I don't know. But anyway, y'all. So yeah, she didn't help. When Dawn Richard, they asked her to point to Diddy, who he was in the courtroom. So she pointed to Diddy, and when she pointed to him, Diddy did like this. And I was like, what the heck was why did he have to put his hands up like this, right? So you know the theatrics in the courtroom from Diddy. I don't know why that was. But yeah, I had a piece of hair on my lips. Sorry about that, y'all. But he put his hands up. I don't know why did he put his hands up when she pointed to him. Okay. Um, she said that she saw Cassie and Diddy together often. She said in 2009, she said that Cassie was attacked by Diddy. She often seen Diddy attack her. Okay, and this 2009 attack was over breakfast. Okay, she said it was because Diddy was mad about some eggs. Okay, and so she said that he actually took the skillet and he hit Cassie because he was mad about the eggs. So Dawn said that she witnessed this. This is Dawn Richard, okay? She also said after that, Diddy had dragged her upstairs and she heard glass breaking and them yelling and things like that, okay? She said she didn't know what to do. She was shocked. She had not ever witnessed anything like that. And so basically, she did not try to intervene or do anything. Okay. After that happened, Dawn was given flowers. Dawn was given flowers by Diddy, and he told her to not say anything because people that say something end up going missing. So at this point, there was an objection in the courtroom on the side of the defense. Okay, the defense and the prosecution went up to the judge stand, and they was chit chatting for a minute, and they came back, and the prosecution continued to ask her questions. Okay, the defense said that Cassie did not mention Diddy saying people end up going missing, so you can't use that. So that was the defense saying that, and so I guess they struck it from her testimony. Okay, and so that was the end of day 5. So moving on to day number 6. Okay, so day number 6, the atmosphere in the courtroom. Okay, a lot of interest in this case, it was the same as it's kind of always been. Outside of the courtroom, there was a large line of people still outside. A lot of people want to get inside the courtroom. A lot of people was in the overflow room. You know, they trying to get in with this case, right? um they said that still, even in this moment, you can see that Diddy inside the courtroom looked like he was still running the show for his defense. He was very engaged. He was passing his lawyer notes back and forth, things of that nature. So he was very invested in his case. It wasn't like Diddy was just sitting there, sitting back and just letting things play out. And I would assume that he would be invested because he's in a fight for his life. Because if Diddy is found guilty of the sex trafficking and racketeering, he will be doing life in jail. Okay. And so a lot of people are saying, well, he didn't hold nobody hostage. How could he do how could it be racketeering? Even I felt like that as well. I'm like, how are they going to prove these things? Right. However, the questioning, the witnesses, all of those things are building racketeering for it to say that he was involved in a lot of criminal activity. So when you're dealing with racketeering, you have to prove that he was involved in the plethora of criminal things, drugs, flying in sex workers from different places to perform the sex with him and Cassie and other people at freak offs. You have to prove abuse and batterment and all these other things, because keep in mind, he has 34 counts against him. So it's not like this is far fetched for him to be prosecuted for racketeering. Okay. What else? So Dawn on day 6 is back on the stand. She's still under direct questioning. She says that she was in a recording studio, and when Diddy had brought them the flowers, and she also still alluded to that people go missing if you say something and all of that. After the direct questioning, I'm sorry. Okay. After direct questioning, they cross-examined. They were still together after that violent incident had happened that Don alluded to. Okay. Don also said that violence would happen at random. Like if she spoke up for herself, Diddy would slap her. Diddy's staff also witnessed the abuse to Cassie, did not jump in. And sorry, y'all, I just want to check my mic. Would not jump in this in the abusive scenarios. The staff didn't do anything, she says, to help Cassie, and would cover up Cassie's bruises with makeup. Don also says that Diddy punched Cassie in the face at Central Park at a festival. So Don says that it was Don, Cassie, and one other person. I can't remember the name of that person. And so Diddy punched Cassie, and Cassie ran into the bathroom to try to get herself together. She was crying. Don went in there with her. Cassie put on sunshades. The other two people, which is Don and the other young lady, put on sunshades as well to stand in solidarity with Cassie, and they had took some photos and stuff. So it made it seem like that they were all wearing sunshades in this photo just because it was something they wanted to do, right? Fast forward, there was a dinner involved where Usher was there, and Neo was there, and Diddy punched Cassie in the stomach, as well as others witnessed this happening, right? So not just Usher and Neo, but they were some of the big names that were at this dinner, and others were there as well, and they witnessed him punching Cassie in the stomach. Okay. And they didn't say anything. And when she said that and I heard that, my and I love Diddy. I mean Diddy. I love Neo and Usher music, but when she said that, a part of me kind of lost a little respect for them, because what man would be in the presence of another man that is abusing his woman and not say anything? I mean, even if you say, "Hey, man, hold up, what are you doing?" or something, in that moment, but they did not speak up as well as others, and not just me losing like a form of respect for Neo and Usher. Also the other people on his staff that were involved that did not speak up. Just really crazy. Just I don't understand how you see somebody getting treated this way and don't say anything. Okay. Um, so Cassie Don says that Cassie confronted Diddy once they got in the van about, punching her in the stomach in front of Neo and Usher and the other people. And he ended up slapping her for confronting him. And after he slapped her, she just kind of looked out the window and didn't say anything else. Prosecution questions were their questions on this line of questioning was to outline that Cassie had no other choice. She was in it with him for the music. She wanted to be a star. And so she just, wanted, that's why she stayed with Diddy and put up with a lot of the things. Okay. Don also says drugs were delivered by a dude named One Stop. Okay. One Stop had cocaine, Plan B, Molly, and he would deliver it to the studio. Don said Diddy will also carry drug lubrication and he was carry I'm sorry, drug lubrication. He would carry drugs locally and internationally. And I'm trying to figure out how the heck would you get drugs onto a plane internationally. However, we're talking about Diddy, and I don't think that people realize the magnitude of power and money that this guy had or probably still has. He probably was on a private jet, of course, and yeah, he probably was able to get it on there because of that. Don said that Diddy would carry a pow pow with him, and was asked why. And when she was asked why they parted ways, Don would get she said why they parted ways. It was because a lot was going on, that he was doing a lot. Don said that she would get multiple calls from Diddy and his staff when he wanted to reach her. Um, and she said that she would stay pleasant with him because she was scared of him at a certain point. All of the things that she had witnessed, all of the things that he was involved in and doing, she was scared of him. And so she would then, stay cordial with him and try not to make him mad. So, Don was a part of Danity Kane, right? But she was one of the members of Danity Kane that ended up still wanting to have a career with Diddy after Danity Kane had, parted ways and broken down. She was in a group called Dirty Money that Diddy had put together, and she was still, working with him with that. So she was still trying to stay very much connected to Diddy. For the life of me, I do not understand why she didn't go and try to go with other producers or work with other people. However, when I think about it, y'all already know that Diddy would have these contracts for artists that was difficult to get out of. So maybe Don was tied to a contract with him where she couldn't go work with anyone else. And because she wanted to do music, she was like, well, it's better to be with someone that has some form of connects and kind of just try to, be pleasant with him, make him happy so that he doesn't pop off. Okay. What else happened? Let me get to it. Da, 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 da. Okay, so she did not come forward with the violence and everything that had happened before now because, of course, she said she was scared of him. But when Cassie filed her lawsuit, the one that we know of after the hotel incident, that's when Don felt secure and comfortable enough to come forward with everything that Diddy had done at this time. Don said she was not expecting money, but justice. Okay, because Don also filed a lawsuit on Diddy, but she was not expecting for it to be money involved, which I call a lie on that one. Because if you're filing a lawsuit against someone that's powerful as Diddy and that has the money, of course you're going to try to get paid from the lawsuit. Okay, Don. Let me see. Don filed her lawsuit. She said that he had threatened her. He had held her hostage for a little bit. These were all the things that she was filing a lawsuit because of. Prosecutors said that he was a criminal mastermind and used the resources to execute his diabolical plans. Okay, so the cross examination began with Don, and a cross examination was done by Nicole Westmoreland. That is one of Diddy's lawyers in this case. She asked about the lawsuit, Nicole Westmoreland, that was filed in September of 2024. She says your answers have changed over time. And so when Diddy's lawyer Nicole said that, I was just like, what does she mean her answers have changed? So apparently Don has changed her answers over time. When prosecutors have questioned her, when the federal government has questioned her, Don claimed that the lawsuit Don claimed in the lawsuit that she did not see Diddy hit Cassie with the pan. He actually threw eggs at Cassie. So remember, I told you in the beginning of Don's testimony, she said that she witnessed Diddy hit Cassie with a pan and then drag her upstairs. However, when it came down to questioning her again, she said that she didn't see him hit her with the pan, that she saw him throwing eggs at her. Okay. Don said that she told the story to the best of her recollection. In 2024, Diddy told Don, hold on, Diddy had a passionate argument with Don. And then April, she was asked about the eggs incident again, and Don did not bring up the eggs incident. So it's kind of like between all this questioning, she was asked about the breakfast incident when Diddy abused Cassie that she witnessed. On one hand, she said he was hit her with the pan. On another hand, she said he didn't hit her with the pan. He only threw eggs. So a lot of holes were poked in her testimony. And this is why I say that Don or Rashard did not help the prosecution when she went on the stand. When she brought up that term, people go missing. She did not say that at first when she was being questioned by the government, right? And so she all of a sudden brought that up. And so she brought that up when they were in this part of the trial. So her honesty was being altered. Holes were being poked. So she wasn't a good person for the prosecution to put on the stand, in my opinion. The defense also asked about the dinner abuse. They also said that when she was questioned first about the dinner abuse with Neo and Usher being there and other people, she didn't bring up celebrities at first. That was another hole poked in her story. She said she wasn't asked about the celebrities though, and that's why she didn't bring them up. However, if you're giving details on a situation, an incident, you should have brought up everybody that was in the incident, that was at the incident, so that it could, stick the same when trial happened. She was also asked about the Central Park incident. She asked if the camera crew captured the girls in the bathroom or captured them when they went off to get themselves together. They did not capture that. Don she said that Don was never alone with Diddy. Kalina Harper was the other person that was in the photos when they were wearing the glasses. Kalina was always there, but Don was never alone with Diddy. So it's kind of like you coming up with all these stories, but you were never alone with him. Okay. She was asked also about the guns. Did Don see him carrying a gun? She said that that Don saw him with the gun at the studio at his home in New York. Okay. She was also asked about drugs. Don said there was a time when she had did drugs, okay, with Diddy as well. She said that she saw Diddy do drugs, and then she said she didn't see Diddy do drugs. So a lot of things in her testimony with Don Richard was just sketchy. It was very sketchy. I didn't see it. I did see it. I didn't see it. I didn't see it. So it doesn't help the prosecution when her story keeps changing. Dawn also goes on, I guess when she figured her back was against the wall, she goes on to say that yes, she admitted that her story is changing because it was a long time ago. So now, because it was a long time ago, her story is changing. Okay. We get to 2011. 2011 is when Dawn said she departed Bad Boy. Okay. She reached out to him though after her departing on several occasions, even though she was scared of him. She said she was scared of him. She said that's why she left. She parted ways in 2011, right? She said that Diddy did not want to sign Dawn as a solo artist. Okay. He wasn't interested in doing that with her. And she said that her career was important to her, and the lawyer even says, so you were scared of him and everything was going on with him, but you still wanted to be a part. And she said, yes, I wanted to still be a part because it was better basically to be with him than to be against him, because she wanted her music career to thrive. Okay. Dawn said she filed her lawsuit a year later after Cassie's, and she said she filed it for compensation of work that she did not get paid for, that she did with Diddy. Now, y'all remember when I told y'all she filed the lawsuit the first time. She goes and tells us, I'm taking this thing off my shirt. I'm sorry, y'all. Hold on one second. I feel better if I hold the mic, like y'all can hear me a little better. So she said before that she did not file her lawsuit for money purposes. However, when asked about the lawsuit again from the defense, she said that she filed it for compensation. So again, another lie, if you will, or hole poked in the story. And I don't understand why they did not say, you're under oath type situation, because her story was changing a lot. Um, what else? Hold on, y'all. So again, she said she was scared of him, but she reached out to him to want to work with him. Still, again, she was willing to go through all of that so she could work with him. Okay. Her testimony was not very believable, in my opinion, and that was the end of Don Richard's testimony. I bet the prosecution is kicking themselves for even having her on the stand, because she really was not credible. Okay. We move on to witness number 4, which is Carrie Morgan. Okay. Carrie Morgan is a former friend of Cassie's. Okay. She was asked why she is no longer friends with Cassie, and she said one name, Diddy. Okay. Diddy is the reason why they are no longer friends. Her and Cassie were friends for 17 years. She says she's only testifying because she was subpoenaed. So Carrie Morgan did not want to be on the stand testifying at none of this. She wanted to live her life and go on and forget that this was even a point and part of her life. But she was subpoenaed. Okay. Carrie was confident in her answers. She answered very directly. She wasn't like Don Richard. She didn't have holes poked in her answers. And everything she was asked, she was straightforward with it. Okay. She also said that Diddy assaulted, Carrie also said that Diddy assaulted her with a wood hanger in 2018. In 2004, they back up a minute. Cassie and Carrie met. That's when they met in 2004. In 2007, Cassie was with Diddy a lot and did drugs with Carrie. So all three of them were this type of throuple friendship where they all partied together, where they all did drugs together, things like that, like Molly, opioids, weed, stuff like that. Okay. They were just a group of friends that was having a rock star lifestyle. Okay. Carrie said that Diddy had mood swings. He would yell, he would get aggressive, he would scream, different things like that. Okay. He says that she says that he criticized Cassie a lot. He would talk down to her a lot. He would call hold on. He would call Carrie when he couldn't get in a hold of Cassie, looking for Cassie. She says that Diddy was in charge of Cassie's career. So even though Cassie was not on a stand anymore, she was not being questioned anymore. A lot of the witnesses was bringing up her Cassie's and Diddy's relationship. Okay, it was almost like it was just overkill a lot, right? But at the end of the day, like I said, they're trying to show a pattern, and Cassie's a key witness. So throughout this whole trial, she's going to be brought up off and on, so much so to the tune that people will start to be like, this is getting on my nerves just a little bit. Okay. But this is a part of the trial that has to be brought out, I guess. Okay. Diddy, she says that Diddy was abusive to Cassie that she can recall of on 2 times. So 2 occasions stood out to her with the abuse. She said the first time was Hollywood Hills. He hit her, pulled her hair. Security was there. Security didn't do anything. She was yelling at security for them to stop it, and Carrie said that security did not stop it. Okay. The second time that she witnessed Diddy, that stood out to her for Diddy abusing Cassie, was in Jamaica. She said she heard Cassie screaming, and he had drug her by her hair once again because she was Oh, okay. Because she was taking too long in the bathroom. Okay. So that's why he ended up doing what he did to her in Jamaica. So both of these times, Cassie would run if she could. Carrie would follow her, and they would hide out from Diddy, almost like they were two, children or high school girls or something. And then they would come back to where they were staying at, possibly, I guess, giving him time to cool down. Okay. March 6, 2016, the hotel incident that we all have seen the footage of, that was brought up to Carrie. Again, Carrie is her friend that was her friend for 17 years. Carrie said that after that hotel incident, her and Cassie went to her home, and Diddy came over to the home with a hammer in his hand. Okay. Carrie said that Cassie, hold on. Carrie said that when Diddy came over with this hammer, Cassie was kind of mute and checked out. At that point, Cassie was just like she didn't really care if he had unalived her because of everything that he was putting her through. Okay. Carrie would encourage Cassie to talk to the police. She said, leave him, talk to the police, get out of this situation. But Cassie didn't. She said that she loved him. Basically, he was taking care of her, he was providing a lifestyle for her, he was taking paying her apartment, her cars, everything like that. And so that's why she did not want to file any charges against Diddy or leave him at the time. So Carrie ended up going to a lawyer of her own for Diddy hitting her with the wooden hanger, okay, back in 2018. Carrie was actually offered from Diddy $30,000. Sorry, y'all. Let me get my notes together. $30,000 if she signed the NDA and went on about her business. And so Carrie ended up taking the 30K, signed the NDA, and she went on about her business. Okay. And that was the prosecution's questioning of her. The cross examination was when the defense asked about Don. They showed Carrie a picture of Don, Kalina, and Cassie. And she said she did not recognize anybody in that picture outside of Cassie. So Carrie says that Cassie was jealous of Kim Porter. They got to that questioning. And I don't know why they felt like they needed to show her a picture of these other people in the picture. I guess they were trying to say that maybe Don or poke holes again in Don Richard's testimony or something like that. Like she wasn't as close to Cassie. I don't know. Fast forward, they did ask about Kim Porter. Carrie said that Cassie was jealous of Kim Porter. Carrie said that Diddy was jealous of Cassie at one point because she was doing a video where Chris Brown was in it, and Chris Brown was dancing up on Cassie, and Diddy did not like the fact that Chris Brown was dancing on Cassie, but it was a video, but Diddy still got jealous of that. Cassie, she talked about the relationship between her and Michael B. Jordan. She clarified that they were just friends. She clarified that they were on the set of Honey 3. So remember last time I was live talking about this, I thought it was Honey 2. Actually, they were on the set of Honey 3, where Cassie and Michael B. Jordan was on in that movie, and they were just friends. So they did not have any type of romantic relationship at all. Carrie was asked about a woman named Gina. Remember, Gina was brought up the last time I was talking about this case. She was a person that was a big problem in their relationship. Carrie alluded to the fact that Gina, she would call her a little girl, right, during her testimony. And not because she was a minor, but because she was younger than Diddy and Cassie. Now, I don't know how much younger she was. However, Cassie was already young. So if we're talking about younger, we're thinking maybe she was 18, 19, something along those lines, okay? Carrie said that Gina had got pregnant, but she did not know if it was Diddy's or not. Okay. So we don't know about that, but Gina did end up getting pregnant. Let's see. She also talks about Christine who was Diddy's assistant. She said that Christine was very nice, very helpful, always to them. She was always trying to help the girls out, I guess, kind of clean up Diddy's mess, but she was one of Diddy's assistants. Okay. Carrie felt like Cassie didn't reach out to her after the hanger incident. So this is ultimately why their friendship broke apart. Excuse me, because Cassie did not reach out to her and wasn't supportive when Diddy had hit her with the hanger. Um, let's move on from that. Cassie and Diddy, she says that she felt like they were in love. She said yes. With this line of questioning, the defense was trying to point out that it was a really great friendship that just had a fallout. So defense was trying to just basically say, hey, they were friends, they had a falling out. She's only testifying because they had a fallout, right? That's what the defense was trying to allude to. Okay, so in comes witness number 5. Okay, witness number 5, his name is David James. Okay, David James was a personal assistant to Diddy. He is important along with Diddy's other staff because that's when the racketeering charge comes into play, because they need to prove that Diddy was using his staff in order to conduct some of his criminal activity. Okay, so David James comes in, and He was subpoenaed to testify as well. David James said he did not want to be on the stand testifying right now against Diddy. He wanted to go on and live his life as well. However, he was subpoenaed, right? And so David James was an assistant of Diddy's from 2007 to 2009. So for 2 years, he was his assistant. Okay. He says he went to Michigan State. After he graduated from Michigan State University, he moved to New York. He said he applied to be Diddy's assistant, and you would never guess the job was in the New York Times. Now we're thinking about 2007, maybe 2006. That was before we're as advanced as we are, of course, with technology. And so he was able to look at the paper, and in the paper there was an assistant job that was for Bad Boy, that would be an assistant for Diddy. And I was just like, wow, that is quite interesting. However, it was there. And so he faxed over his resume. He emailed his resume. He even dropped off his resume in person at the Bad Boy headquarters in New York. Okay. He went in for a interview. Hold on, y'all. Okay. He went in for an interview with a person named Vasha. And Vasha told him, which I thought this was very weird. She told him that this is Diddy's kingdom and we are here to serve him. Now, at that point, it sounds very cult like. If it was me, I would have been like, okay, I don't want no parts of being Diddy Kingdom and his servant and all of that, whatever she was talking about. However, he wanted this job. And so he went ahead, and that did not phase him. Okay. Um, he says that his responsibilities for being Diddy's assistant was to travel with Diddy, to organize his business schedule, to arrive at Diddy's home before he woke up, to wake him up, to wait for Diddy to be done with breakfast, to attend dinner with Diddy and be in the studio with him. He said that he worked long hours. He worked like 7 days a week. 3 days straight one time he worked, and he said his pay was 70K. Okay, so I don't know if they were saying 70K a month or 70K a year. He did not specify that. However, if it was 70K a year at that time, I guess it was a lot of money back in 2007. But he said that's what he was making for being Diddy's assistant. He was asked about the other staff, the bodyguards and everything. And he said the bodyguards were there to protect Diddy. No security carried illegal weapons. Okay. He named several women that Diddy was with outside of Cassie. He did not give those names, but he said that he were with a plethora of women outside of her. He met Cassie in 2017 on a yacht. So that's the first time that David James met Cassie. He said Cassie said, hold on. He said that he talked to Cassie one time, and Cassie said that this lifestyle is crazy. And he said, just get out of the lifestyle, leave the lifestyle. And of course, like I told y'all before, she said, well, he's paying for everything. He is paying for my car, my apartment, things like that. That's why I'm not going to leave the lifestyle. And Cassie, according to David James, was moldable. He was the woman in Diddy's life that was moldable. And I always say that, like, older men end up getting with younger women because they're easily to be able to be molded and manipulated. And older women, they tend not to so much go for them as much because older women are kind of already assertive in their, in their self. They're not really along the lines of someone you can kind of mold to a certain degree, right? David James also said that Kim Porter was his queen and Cassie was just, fun time girl, somebody that was moldable. Okay. That was the end of day 6. Okay. So the last day that I'm going to discuss is day number 7. So day number 7, this day alludes to the lines of fear, money, and balance. To control, to control. That was the whole like title of this whole day for day number 7. Okay. On day number 7, y'all, Cassie's mother took the stand. So that was a shocker because we're thinking, okay, we're done with Cassie. So all of her family and she and everybody else should be, out of the courtroom, right? Not so. On day 7, her mother took the stand. Okay. And she testifies and says back in 2011, Diddy wanted money from Cassie's mom over a sex tape. And he said if she did not give him the money that he would release the sex tape around the holidays. I'm thinking maybe it was around Christmas or whatever time it was around, maybe Thanksgiving, Christmas, I'm not sure. So the mom took out a $20,000 home equity loan, and she ended up paying Diddy this money. Now, this money was later returned back to her. So I don't know why he wanted the money, then the money was returned back to her. Okay. Um, Cassie, she then her mom, Cassie's mom, then tells us that she shaved her hair and had it shaved from 2009 to 2011. Okay. I don't know why that was relevant, but her mother had brought that up. Um, her bruised photos was shown to the mother of Cassie, and the mother says she do remember that. The mother also talks about 2016. She talks about Cassie's 30th birthday was in 2016, and the mom said she had to call the police because Diddy had took Cassie's phone. So whenever he got mad at Cassie, he would end up taking things from her, and the mother said that he took the phone. Okay, the mom and Diddy ended up getting an argument. Okay, because the mom was probably like, "Listen, dude, I'm the mother. I'm Mother Bear. Mother strength is a different type of strength because when you're messing with our children, we don't care who you are. We're going up against you, and that's just what it is, right?" So the mom got in an argument with Diddy, and D-Rock, one of Diddy's assistants, one of his staff members, had jumped in between them, trying to kind of calm down the argument and things of that nature, but he was not successful. The Cassie's mom in this argument even tried to hit Diddy, but she was not able to hit him. Okay. Diddy eventually gave back Cassie's phone, but then he took her car. So when he gave back the phone, he took the car. Okay. And he would do this often. Like if Cassie got out of pocket, he would take something. Okay. Um, the mom says that she didn't know about the physical violence. So mom says that she did not know that Diddy was being abusive to Cassie. And if I don't know how close Cassie's relationship is with her mother, but the mother did testify she did not know that he was physically abusing Cassie. Okay. So there was no cross-examination for the mom because I mean, what questions were they going to ask, right? I didn't even know why the prosecution needed to call the mom, but I guess they were trying to also further prove that Diddy was violent and that he would do things to manipulate Cassie and things of that nature. Okay, so now we get to witness number 6. So the mom was kind of thrown in there. I don't want to say she was a witness, right? Um, you know, she was thrown in there. Let me walk somebody out the room. I knew when I would report on this trial that I would get all type of interesting folks. Okay. Witness number 6. So we get to the other witness, and this is on day number 7. This is Sheree Hayes. Now, Sheree Hayes is his nickname or stage name is the Punisher. He came in a suit and a tie and everything. And Sheree Hayes is a male escort and exotic dancer. Okay. He described the actions with Cassie and Diddy. He was hired to be, of course, uh a freak off participant with them, and he said that they wanted fantasies done. That's what he would create, fantasies. He said he was paid in 2012, and Cassie called and she hired him. Okay. He said that he met a woman. He gives us the story. He said he met a woman at the Trump Tower Hotel in New York. Inside that hotel room was a woman with a wig on, and that was Cassie. Okay. She said that Diddy wanted her to put baby oil on him and on her. Now, she referred to Diddy as her husband. Okay. She paid him $800. Okay. That's what he got. After the baby oil was applied, he said that a nude man came out with Astroglide. He also had his face covered, and he was pleasuring himself. While he was pleasuring himself, he was giving instructions in what he wanted them to do while he was doing that. Okay. The Punishers said that this lasted for about 25 to 45 minutes. He said after this, he would be contacted by Cassie 8 to 12 other times after that. Okay. Now he didn't know that her name was Cassie. She went under the alias Janice. And so he, didn't know at the time that's who she was. He didn't know if she was for the sexual encounters or not. Okay. She would kind of sigh every time instructions were given from Diddy, or winch a little bit. Kind of, maybe saying that she was bored with this, or that she did not want to continue to participate and take instructions, but she did it anyway. Okay. Um, he said that he did not see Diddy doing drugs or drinking in this moment. Now, that does not mean that he was not under the influence of drugs or alcohol. He might have already had it, prior to their encounter. Okay. He said that he, at a certain point during these 8 to 12 times encounter when they called him, he would experience performance anxiety, probably because another man, he said, was giving instructions and watching him perform these sexual activities with this woman. He then came out and said that he had wrote a book, and this is Sheree. His name is Sheree Hayes, nicknamed the Punisher. Okay, he was one of the people that that participated in a freak off. He said he wrote a book about the encounter with Diddy and Cassie. He did not say their names in the book, and the title of the book is In Search of Meat Freezer. Now, that is a really rough, wild name, but the book was supposed to be to help other men who struggles with performance anxiety, and he ended up talking about the episode with Diddy and Cassie in the book. Okay, moving on. He referenced them in the book as a married couple, and so he did not call their names. What else? David James. Okay, so that was the end of his testimony. So we jump back over to David James, who was Diddy's assistant. He said that he was in charge of also setting up the hotel rooms for Diddy. Okay. He said that the hotel room will be booked under Frank Black. That was his alias. And it was called Advancing the Hotel. So that's what it was called, not just setting up, Advancing the Hotel. Okay. He said he will put food in there, clothes in there. He said one of the food items that Diddy liked to have was applesauce and jello. And I was just like, applesauce and jello, what are you, five? I was just like, okay, really, wow. But he said that he would like to have a burger, a cheeseburger, and he would like to put applesauce on the cheeseburger. Just weird, okay? He also said that he would have to put toiletries in the hotel room. He would have a medicine bag in the hotel room. He will also have that famous Louis Vuitton bag in the hotel room, and that Louis Vuitton bag normally carried pills, Viagra, Percocet, money, all types of stuff in this Louis Vuitton bag. Okay. David James also said that he will purchase some of the items and be repaid by Bad Boy. He also said that some of the items were purchased with cash so that it would not have any link back to Diddy or Bad Boy, such as condoms, lubricants, etc. Okay. He also said that other women would be in these rooms outside of just Cassie. David James also said that there was a New Year's Eve party that Diddy had where he attended, where he was, he said he was Diddy bopping at the party, you know, and he said that there was a video of him, drinking Ciroc, partying and everything. It was New Year's Eve. The next day, Diddy reviewed that footage, and he said that he wanted to keep that footage just in case he needed to use it. So if it was innocent enough, I don't know why Diddy would feel like he needed to keep it to use it, but maybe he saw something that the naked eye wouldn't see. I don't know. Moving on from that, employees would have to take lie detector tests. David James said that. He said Diddy's employees would have to take lie detector tests at random. He said that he had took 2 lie detector tests because some cash and a watch was stolen from Diddy's home, and so that's why a lie detector test was given. David James actually did admit, y'all, that he did take some things from Diddy. He said that he took a pair of Sean John jeans because he loved the clothing line, and he took some Ciroc, but he didn't have anything to do with a watch and some money. Suge Knight came up on day 7, y'all, and this story gets quite interesting. So lean in, right? 2008, the year was 2008. Now, David James is going to tell us this story, right? So 2008, they are coming back from the studio, and Diddy wanted something to eat from Mel's Diner. Now, Mel's Diner is in California. Okay. D Rock, Diddy's assistant, was with David James, and they are at Mel's Diner. While they're at Mel's Diner, they see Suge Knight. D-Rock decides to confront Suge Knight, and he says, "Hey, I'm Diddy's boy. What's up now? I mean, I'm sorry, I'm Biggie's boy. What's up now?" Y'all know that Biggie, the rapper, was linked to Diddy under Bad Boy, and he ended up losing his life years ago. And they always linked kind of Suge Knight to being involved in that, right? So D-Rock is like, "What's up? I'm Biggie's boy. What you got to say now?" And then more SUVs began to pull up. So they went inside. When they went inside Mel's Diner, nothing came of him popping off at Suge Knight. They went inside Mel's Diner. While they were inside, other SUVs pulled up. When the SUVs pulled up, they ended up getting back in the car. They went to the studio where Diddy was. I mean, Diddy's house where he was. When they pulled up, he was arguing with Cassie outside. And D-Rock told Diddy that they saw Suge at Mel's Diner. They all jumped in a car. Diddy, D-Rock, David James, they went back to Mel's Diner. So at this point, David James said that he was scared for his life. He thought that his life was in danger, that something was about to pop off, where he was about to lose his life. When they got back to the diner, all of the SUVs were gone, and that's the only reason why an altercation or something did not happen. Okay, so after this situation, David James said that he put in his resignation. He said that he ended up putting in his 6 months resignation, and in May of 2009, he wasn't working there anymore. Before that time, he was training Diddy's new assistant. Okay, Diddy lawyer said Diddy lawyer asked him, was he questioned earlier that morning in court by some prosecutors or federal agents or something like that. He said he could not remember. So Diddy's lawyer alluded to the fact where, if you can't remember if you were questioned this morning, how would you remember something that happened back in 2008? And I think that the lawyer was trying to just say that, this situation didn't really happen. He's just trying to make this story up. But at the same time, I believe David James, because if your life was in danger, or you had a situation that happened to you that was really crazy, no matter how long ago it happened, you're going to remember the details because you were in fear at that moment. Okay. The jurors inside the hotel room at this point were very hard to read. They were not overly emotional at all. They were just listening intently and taking notes. Okay. And that's the end of day number 7. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. And this trial is in week number 2. Today they were on day number 9, I believe. And so tomorrow I'm going to come out a little earlier. I'm going to come out and I'm going to do day number 8 and day number 9. So by tomorrow they'll be on day number 10, right? So I'm a little behind in the days of reporting the case. However, I'm trying to keep up with it. And give y'all all the details, since we can't really physically watch it on TV, right? And so, yeah, that is the end of day number 7. Tomorrow I will come out and I will do day number 8 and day number 9. Okay. If you have missed any of this video, you can go back and watch it from the beginning. If you have not done so already, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button for this video. If you want to get this content, and more content, because I do other things as well on this channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be keeping my ear close to this case, really close to the case, and reporting everything to you all that I am gathering from my source. If you all want to go deeper dive, you can go on YouTube, and credit for all of my information is coming from Sidebar Law and Crime. Okay, they are doing a very good job of reporting what's going on inside of the courtroom. So if you liked it and you love it, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Make sure your notification button is on. That way you can be abreast to when I come out and I give my sauce about what I gathered from the reporting of this case. Okay, so let me know y'all comments. Shout out to the replay watchers. Thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for watching, and I will see you all on tomorrow. Make sure y'all leave some comments. Make sure y'all share the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like it up. Make sure that you stay in tune and engage with this case, because it's just going to go from this to something extreme. So I believe we have not even seen the tip of the iceberg yet with this case. Okay, I love y'all. Thank y'all for joining me. Until we meet again. Bye.